All right, next question is a question that's shared amongst quite a few folks. So Jimmy Stanley, Harry Levin, Lyle Platt, and Carrie Bishop all have questions on band tuning, mostly around band length. So basically looking for an explanation on determining that proper band length. Okay, to determine your proper band length, there's one key thing you've got to know, and that's your draw length. And that is individual to everyone. Your draw length is where you anchor. An anchor being defined as the place to where you stop drawing out the elastic. And in order to be accurate in this assessment, you need to have a consistent anchor point. So if you're the type of shooter that draws out behind your ear, until you get really set in your style of shooting, you're going to have some variability in your draw length. It's very easy to determine if you have an anchor point on your face, the facial structure. I used my thumbnail in the corner of my mouth as my reference point. I feel my tooth through my gum or through my lip, and that one's very repeatable for me. I know that when I draw out this distance, I'm about 29.5 to 30 inches of elongation. That's how far I draw out the bands. So once we know that number, we've got to remember that number. Now, whether you're working in the metric system or imperial, just grab that number. It's all going to be the same. Next, we need to understand the nature of latex. We've spoken about this over and over and over again, understanding how latex works. So if you understand that latex works by retracting to its relaxed position as quickly as possible, and that's where you generate the speed, the velocity, then you will understand that there's probably an optimum length to stretch it out to balance band life and speed. So you may have noticed that our bands come quite long. When you pull them back, you feel like, oh, I could go quite a bit further. That's true because not everyone has the same draw length. We certainly send out our bands to accommodate the most shooters possible. So our bands do need some tuning to fit an average draw length of around 30 inches. Every latex has an optimal elongation factor. The elongation factor meaning the times it's stretched from its relaxed length. So if we have a 10-inch length of band and we stretch it to 50 inches, that's an elongation factor of 500% or 5x. 5x, 4 to 6x is the sweet spot for most latex. So 600% elongation is about the end of most modern latex. It starts to hit a wall feeling. You can't stretch it much more. And when you take it to that point, you are absolutely getting the most you can out of the latex at the expense of band life. Likewise, on the other side of it, 400% elongation or 4x elongation. That gets you closer to more average band life, a couple of hundred shots, and good performance. With 5 or 3.5, somewhere on the other one side or the other, being a great place to be for someone that wants a little bit more power or a little bit more life. Do you just want to plink in the backyard for as many shots as possible? Keep your elongation a little bit lower. Are you looking for the flattest shooting slingshot possible? Move your elongation a little bit higher. But shoot for, say, around 400% elongation or a factor of 4x. So backing up, we understand that my draw length is about 30 inches. And if I'm looking for a 400% elongation, I'm going to divide 4 into 30. And that's going to give me about 7.5. So 7.5 inches of active rubber in the system would give me a 400% elongation. That's going to be great for simple shot elastic. Of course, you can go a little bit further. You could move that down to 7 inches, maybe even 6.5. It's going to get really hot at that point, meaning high velocity. It's going to retract very quickly at the absolute expense of longevity. It's going to fail much sooner. So here's the thing. When you have a band set that's long, too long for you, cut incrementally, starting long. You can always cut more off. You can't put it back on. So shoot it, see how it feels, see if it's giving you the downrange trajectory that you're looking for, and then reassess. But 4 times elongation is about the sweet spot. So start with 3. Once you determine your draw length, divide that by 3 to 5, and that will give you a rough approximation of what the active band length needs to be. Now, when I say active band length, that is the amount of rubber that's working in the system. So that is the measurement would be from the pouch where it ties in to where it attaches to the slingshot. Keep in mind that you have to attach the bands to the slingshot. If I were to cut my bands to 7.5 inches exactly and apply them to an Ocularis style slingshot where I need to use over a ½ inch, maybe even 3/4 of an inch to attach the bands, then I'm going to be far beyond my 4x elongation. So keep that in mind. Your active band length is the amount of band working in the system. Add on any band that you may need to tie in or clamp in your bands. So, to repeat, figure out your draw length. Once you know your draw length, divide that by 4 to 5, 4 being the sweet spot. Always start longer and start whittling back from there. And always remember to keep a little extra to tie in, to clamp in, or use with your Ocularis plug system. So in a roundabout way, I think I've hit most of you guys' questions. The key is go out and experiment. Latex is cheap, life is short. Go out there and play with it. Figure out what elongation is going to work best for you. You might be surprised at what you can do when you dial in a slingshot band set just for you. How much better you'll shoot and how much better the experience is because you understand from the ground up what's happening. Great questions, guys. Thanks for it. Keep them coming.